workers here, and you can. I'm going to slow this down a little bit and zoom in some. You can actually see them building their strange scaffolding, and then hammering on the side of the scaffolding. Oh, El Presidente is here. Yes. He's visiting the construction site, which increases the production speed. I can actually direct him around to other places, which at this point, I think I'm going to direct him to move to the,
back to work again.
The fishing shack that we also have set at high priority, and he will convince people to go there faster and work faster. Here is a clear-cut logging camp set to clear-cut. We can also set it to selective harvest, but for now that's not really important. Selective harvest works a little bit more slowly. We find we have one one lumberjack. He will just cut down trees, and then the teamsters will come over in their trucks and will pick up his load and take it down to the dock, where it will be sold off. We are going to go into debt. That is sort of inevitable, but that's actually alright for now, because we can get up to $10,000 in debt before we start suffering any sort of penalties, and as long as we don't go into too much debt, then we can pretty much consider ourselves to be doing just fine. At some point, we are going to have a lot more money rolling in. We'll have to be a little more careful about our debt because our expenses will go up as well. But for now, as long as we don't go too deep into debt, we'll be fine. Also, every year we'll get financial aid from the two major powers, the US and Russia, and they will get a little bit upset if we're in debt. They don't like the fact that they're considered to be bailing us out, so to speak. Alright, this construction is going well. Got 3 constructors over here, and El Presidente to walk on water, apparently, and tell them to work faster.
See? What is it now?
You can see this little sunburst. That tells you where El Presidente is currently boosting the abilities, or the priority, I should say. I'm going to send him over to this farm for now.
It's always all work and no
do some interesting things there. I don't know if he boosts the production at the farm or not. And the rest of this for now, I think we need to have the tenement set up soon, but first I want this garage. Set that to high priority. Actually, you know what? Why don't we send El Presidente to the garage and get that set up? If we can get the garage and then the tenement set up, we should be good for a little while. At least until we get our first couple of rounds of money coming in, which every year they send, I think, 2 freighters every year. Immigrants come in on those freighters, and then our dock workers, these 4 men here, when they're at work, they will send off, they will load onto those boats our exports, which will then be sold off. We also have the ability to import things, should that be necessary, if we, for example, had a factory that was set up to utilize things we don't have, like if we had, for example, a furniture factory and we did not have finished wood, because these are unplaned logs. We can also build a what do they call it? A lumber mill to turn into finished lumber, and then a furniture factory. If we just built the furniture factory, we would have to import finished wood. As you can imagine, that gets expensive.
I'm busy ruling. Are you a rebel?
Are you a rebel? Oh yes, also, one other thing I forgot we might need is a marketplace. I forgot where that is as well. That's under food and resources, is that right? Marketplace. It is a central distribution place for food. Requires a high school educated worker, so that may not come just yet. We may actually have to do that later. But basically, right now, whenever somebody gets hungry, they go to a farm to get the food. Whereas with a central marketplace, they have one centralized location from which to buy things. If we develop a housing quarter later on, which right now this is all kind of ad hoc, we will hopefully be able to plan things out better in the future, build more appropriately. At that time, we will want to have marketplaces set up where our people's housing is most prevalent, as well as where we have the majority of our workers set up. So that way they don't have as far to go to eat, and that cuts down on travel time, which is good. Efficiency is important. Looks like they're building this construction office before they build anything else. We have one fisherman. We can eat fish, so he adds to our food intake. We have four loggers, lumberjacks, whatever. That's good. They have output quite a bit of production so far, which, as you can see here, export revenues. We have $2,160 in Tropican dollars, mind you, not American dollars. $2,160 worth of resources to export. Now, that is not much, obviously, especially considering how much we spent in the last year. But that number will go up dramatically once we start having a wider variety of things to export and a better number of people to export them. Salt mines do not require educated workers. Normal mines do not require educated workers, but most factories do, and we do not currently have the infrastructure set up to educate anyone, which is difficult and can get expensive quickly. If we don't educate people locally, we have to hire out people from elsewhere, and that costs a lot of money. This garage has two mechanics working there. They maintain the cars, obviously. Everyone in Tropico uses communal cars, apparently. No one really owns their own vehicles. But vehicles from buildings that have road connections and people who go into garages, they can travel much more quickly on roads, and that's very helpful, obviously. This is what appears to be Teamsters dropping things off, and we have a dock worker. Look at that. We have 2,880, and we also have 3 new immigrants to Tropico. That's one of them there. Claudia Ruiz. She wants to go to church. Now then, at the end of the year, I will pause the game and we will take a look at things. Okay, so this freighter has taken 2,880 worth of our goods, which kept us out of the hole. That's good. When the year rolls over, the game will autosave, and I will pause the game to take a look at our situation in the almanac and see how we're doing. It's been already a year, and we could be doing worse. We could be doing better, but we could be doing a lot worse. Right now, they are building at the tenement, which should be handy to get more of our people places to live. The corn farms are doing alright, despite the fact they seem to be growing around palm trees. Our loggers are cutting down swaths of trees. At some point, we're going to want a lumber mill so that we can... I'll look at that. Pause the game. Financial aid, almost 5,000 from US, almost 5,000 from USSR, putting us back over 11,000. Excellent. Now at this point, I'm going to spend that money almost immediately. I don't want quite to build an armory just yet. We have 53 people and 4 soldiers. That's enough for now. As time goes on, we're going to need more. But we're going to need other things too. Right now, I'm thinking that we want a church. Churches, however, require high school educated workers. Now, those are not the most expensive workers, but they are definitely workers that we would have to pay for because we don't have a high school right now. I'm going to extend some of these roads. I'm actually thinking I'm going to go ahead and make this a block area, like so-ish, and then extend this road out like... it's interesting. Like so, and then like this, like that. That allows us this little area here. Now, this is not the most optimal way to do things, but you may discover over the time that I play this game that I don't necessarily plan and optimize quite as well as I should sometimes. I am going to go ahead and build our church. It's going to be right here. This is going to be a small housing area, I think. Mostly it's going to be tenements and that sort of thing for now. Later we may consider doing better. Right now the church is just going to go here. And I'm going to go ahead and set up that marketplace because marketplaces, as it turns out, are going to be kind of important. Now I want to set it there. This is actually a good place for it, I think. If I can just get it angle there, that's where I want it. Because that right there is in the center of everything. Now it's not right on a road, so people have to walk to get there. But it's in the center of all the housing area, and that's important. I'm also going to set up a second tenement. We're going to change the view of this one to the taller green building. I think it's about the same size as the one we had before, but it doesn't matter. Now that's gonna run into the marketplace there. That's there. That'll do. Actually, let me see. Can I turn this sideways? That'll do. There. That's just about right. That should keep us afloat in terms of our population having places to live for a while. This making $2 of rent back on every person that lives in the tenement should help us out a little bit in terms of making that money back. As you can see in the bunkhouses, we are actually technically making a profit on the bunkhouses. We could actually even lower the bunkhouses quality even more by making it a roach patrol instead of a normal maintenance, but that's not really necessary at this time. We're doing okay-ish. We're definitely going to go into debt this year, but we may actually make enough to come out of it once our situation stabilizes. This says that no one's currently living there, but people are moving in almost immediately. They're going to want to get out of their shacks. We also may start to have an unemployment problem soon, as we're going to definitely have more people than we have places for them to live. I'm going to fix that partially by going ahead and setting this salt mine to a higher priority. And we have people currently building at the church. That's good. We want the church to be running. We will definitely have to buy a foreign specialist to work here. People in Tropico tend to be very fluid about their jobs. They don't spend all of their lives working one job necessarily. They tend to oscillate back and forth between whatever job seems to be more appropriate for the moment. This does tend to mean it takes them longer to build up skills for appropriate jobs sometimes, but that's alright. Now then, almost done. I'm going to speed things up just a little bit. Going to double speed. Come on, make sure you finish the job. Make sure you finish the job. No, you walked away without finishing the job. Now we can order an instant quick build for various buildings, but if we do that, it costs us basically pretty much the price of the building all over again. I see, because they all quit working there so they can come work over here. Well, I guess that makes sense. I did kind of order them to do that. Now El Presidente is here. He should make them build faster, and with 3 of them on site, it should go very quickly. Let's see. I may be wasting a lot of this salt deposit by having built on it, but that's alright. I'm not really terribly concerned with that. This is not necessarily even a permanent structure. It's just some way to make some money. As that turns out, making money is important. Now we're $24 in debt. We can go up to $10,000 in debt before we suffer any penalties, and hopefully that won't happen anytime soon. Alright, the salt mine is just about done. In fact, it is finished now. Look at that. Ta-da! And then we're going to have El Presidente come over here and encourage the building of the marketplace. The salt mine has no workers currently, but it will produce salt, and salt deposits never deplete. And it also boosts production for... Oh, Emiliano Vargas has become a rebel. That's not good. We don't want to have too many rebels. Rebels are non-productive workers who also try to shoot us, and as it turns out, that tends to be slightly unpleasant. The whole shooting us thing. Yes, it could be unpleasant. Let's see here. Construction. Nobody's working from this one. Nobody is building anything right now. You people are difficult. Oh, there they are. They're building from the church now. That's alright. We don't seem to have anybody terribly unemployed right now where they would be filling up these spots. Nobody's working in the salt mine, so we have to wait for the next immigration wave for anyone to... Oh, no, somebody's working in the salt mine. Salt may not be worth a whole lot, or it may be worth quite a bit. Actually, I know where to check that. One moment. Economy. Let's see here. it income? No, maybe it's lists? It's been a while, I'm sorry. Trade, that might be it. Let's go for trade overview. Other? No. Industry. Salts? No. These are the export prices for various things. Agriculture and livestock. No? Maybe, oh, there it is, salt. We sell salt to Russia and China for $13.50, apparently, per what? I'm not sure how that works. Is that per 100 units or per unit or what? I'm not really sure. I know that right now we sell logs for 900, so salt will be worth more than our logs. Oh no, I'm sorry, we export to the USSR for salt, and we import it from China should we need to buy some. That's right, okay. Currently we have the EU as a favored trade partner, which is interesting. That's probably based on what we've sold, because most of what we sold so far has been logs, which go to the EU. That also affects our price, because the EU is not super fond of us, but they don't hate us, so... Now then, what is our threat level? We have 1 rebel, 3 soldiers. Does that mean one of our soldiers became the rebel? That would be bad. Let's hope that didn't happen. Let's see. Actually, I'm going to go back to my lists. I'm going to go to job, and then go to rebels. Nope, I guess I can't go to rebels. That's interesting. I can't actually see the rebels. So I cannot look up Emiliano Vargas. Interesting. I will have to remember that. Now then, we're going to want eventually to put another garage up here so the people working up here can do better. Okay, look, church is finished. Now it looks like he's encouraging the tenement.
Violence broke out in Tropico as the army tried to remove Reverend Esteban from the pub and get him to start the first service in the new church. Several soldiers are missing, presumed drunk. The Reverend had this to say.
Give me another one. And make it a big one.
Our dear local Reverend is a bit of a sot, as you might have imagined. Now, I'm going to have to spend 500 to get a single high school educated worker. But it's important, so I'm actually going to spend 2. Now, the price has gone up for the second one. It goes up by 100 for every worker we hire. So, I just spent over $1,000 getting a high school educated worker. Now, I'm also going to get a high school female worker. That's another 700. That's expensive. It gets expensive quickly. But it's very, very important. Also, the marketplace is not supposed to be set for 13. Okay, I'm going to set soldiers to 15. And that should leave these at 13. Yes. Okay. Soldiers are now our best paid people. Okay, there we go. 3 foreign experts and 7 new immigrants. And we also have a little over $2,000 worth of exports, which is not optimal, because that's still going to leave us in debt at the end of the year. Great. Alright, that's alright though. We will be able to manage, because when foreign aid kicks in at the end of the year, that will help. Also, these tenements going up, we're going to make a little bit of money on those over the course of the game. Because we're basically making money back off of the people that we're paying to live in our, paying to work. We're making some of that money back. We're also going to need to set up some sort of entertainment. I suppose I should probably do that now. Let's go ahead and set up a pub. I'm sorry, not a pump. A pub right here again in the middle of our residential district. People who drink enough tend to forget that they have problems. And we're going to have the entry fee go ahead and be 6. It's going to be expensive to come to the pub. And that means that some people won't necessarily go. But if they want to go to the pub, they're going to have to pay for it.
Relations between Tropico and the Middle East have hit an all-time low point.
Middle East doesn't love us.
The upper and lower easts remain on our side, we should be all right.
Right. Anyway, it seems we will not be receiving camels as gifts for some time.
Camels? Where?
Excelencia? Talk fast. I
There's
don't
a
have all
protest. I'm going to send El Presidente in to have a chat with our protesters.
Where to now?
Calming down our protesters.
This better be important.
There, that fixed it. He had a
It's
quote-unquote
always all
polite
work
chat,
and
and
no
the protest
play
broke
for
up.
Presidente.
We won't bother discussing what he talked about. It's not important and not relevant. All that matters is that the protesters stopped protesting. Now let's check our logging camp. Well, most of our exports have come from our logging camp, apparently. That's not entirely unexpected, I suppose. Now then, the marketplace is what's building next, and then hopefully they will... Oh, they're also building this. Excellent! That will, that'll give us another influx of food, and that means that the more food we have, the more money we will make off of our excess food. Let's see, we can expect another freighter in about 4 months. Hopefully we will have some exports ready to go by then. Yep, it looks like we will. That's good. That's right here on this screen. You can see export number of resources and how much those resources are worth, as well as whatever we're going to import for the next freighter and how much it will cost us. Now then, our tenements are not entirely full yet, so that's good. We do have soldiers living in tenements. I'm not really loving that. I would rather have them have better housing. I will have to arrange that. Also, I think maybe it might be... Okay, we're going to be in debt at the end of the year anyway. I'm going to go ahead and set something up here. Increase the safety of the surrounding area, but decrease the liberty.